Well, hello again. Hey, I've got some things to share with you about the Holy Spirit's work in us and through us. You remember when Jesus told his disciples to wait in Jerusalem? This is right before he left in his ascension. He told them to wait in Jerusalem and don't go because you need to be empowered by the Holy Spirit, and He will come on you, and He will give you power. Now, we wonder, what is that power, and why do we need His power in us? We obviously some of us have apparently more power than the others, but we're all looking and saying, "Well, I need more power." Well, I want to show you something. That Jesus, when he was doing his stuff, he was operating under the authority and the power. He was the Son of God, but he was operating in the power of the Spirit. And so he was a human being like us in a way, without sin. He didn't have the sin factor in his life. But he was operating in the power of the Holy Spirit. And so he was doing, but when he left, he said in this is the 14th chapter of John, "Most assuredly I say to you, he who believes in me, the works that I do, he will do also, and greater works than these shall I do, because I go to my Father." Now, what he meant by that was he's going to the Father, and he's going to leave the Holy Spirit here we utilize the power of the Holy Spirit. He wants to continue his ministry, doing the stuff, but he wants to do it through us. So when he relied on the Holy Spirit to do the work of God, he's saying to us, you need to rely on the Holy Spirit to do the work of God through you. Now, most of us would say, well, I don't have that power. I don't have any way. I don't have it. Well, it's like when he wants to continue his ministry, his power source, I'll just draw you a kind of a word picture. Say, for instance, in your car, your battery's dead and your car won't start. That means you don't have the power. Now, that's the way a lot of us Christians feel. Our battery's dead and our car won't start. In other words, we need some other power someplace else. So what do? Well, we need another power source to do the stuff. In this case, the power source is an extra battery. A battery that is fully charged. But even though that battery is fully charged, and I'm over here and my car is dead, how do I get the fully charged into my car so that it will start and run? And so, if that's the Holy Spirit, we know that the Holy Spirit is, has unlimited power and an authority, and that God's saying to us, I want you to get the power from the power source that you utilize to use it for my ministry. Well, what does that mean? Here's what I mean. It's like, I want to draw you a word picture. A word picture. We get a pair of jumper cables. Jumper cables. And all those jumper cables that's what he uses to transfer the power from the external power source to the dead battery or the dead vehicle that you have that won't start. And so we're like a person is like those battery cables. Now, the battery cables in itself are totally powerless. They don't have any power in them. They are a device that gets the starter battery, the new battery, to the new power source, so that we can do the power to do the stuff. Battery cables, because they have to be a certain size. In other words, you couldn't do it with a 18 gauge wire because it wouldn't have enough amperage. You can't put enough amperage through there to make the starter work and your car run. Well, so what God has done, He has given us, He's saying, here's what I want you to do. And nobody's arguing this. You don't have any power in yourself. And so, but I'm going to be that jumper cable. I'm going to tap into what the Holy Spirit has right there, and I'm going to use that to transfer to the then the Holy Spirit comes upon you. So I do know that the power source is there for me to draw on. Now, does that mean if I draw on it one time, I have it forever? I don't think so. I think, in fact, that once you're filled with the Spirit and the power source, you've been drawing on it, that you can actually, there'll be times when you just need another jolt. You know, you need more power. And so, but here's this extra storage battery that you can draw on anytime you need it. It's a baptism, not just the baptism of the Holy Spirit, but drawing on it as we need it to do the work of the ministry. And so, if I'm going to operate the way Jesus said I'm going to operate, if I'm going to do what He did, I need that same power that He had. And so, how do I do that? Well, make sure, for instance, make sure that you're because we didn't have a firm connection to the power source. And Jesus, Jesus said about the Holy Spirit, the Holy Spirit, I'm going to send Him to you, and He's going to work on my behalf. He's going to represent Jesus in everything He does. So the power source is the Holy Spirit, but it's really Jesus doing it. And so when you say, okay, I need to quote Jesus said. He said about, I'm the vine and you're the branches. Now, if that branch is not connected to the vine, you can't get it through that. You need a connection. I want you to stay connected to me. Over the years, but it occurs to me that I need an extra power in my life every once in a while to do this stuff. In other words, when you walk up to someone that needs healing in their life, for instance, someone that needs healing, and you go up and say, God, Jesus, I'm connected to you. I mean, make sure that you're connected to Him. Make sure that you're not an 18 gauge wire either. You know, sometimes we Christians get so weak that we just need a bigger wire. Get a number 2 wire. That'll be enough to get the amperage through to do the work. So you have to stay connected to make sure you're connected to Jesus, and then to go about doing the stuff that He has for us to do. Well, God bless you. Just think about that when you go up. You know, sometimes I see people holding their hand out and not getting their hand. Jesus said, lay hands on the sick. Well, I see them out there about a foot away from the target, holding their hand out. Now that seems to be kind of a religious thing. But if you do that with a battery cable, you're not going to get any power. It's not going to work. You have to make connection, both ends, both to the power source and to the device that you're working on to heal. So that's just a thing with me. I know it looks religious when you hold your hand out. And I don't know where that ever came from. But it's just man's way of kind of doing religious things. Anyway, put your hand on there and say, I'm a jumper cable here, and I'm going to heal the sick because I'm not the power source. All I'm doing is making the connection between the two. So, God bless you. Try it out, see if it works.